Hi everyone, today I'm going to explain the setup process of your strike flush housing for your sports housing, and also how to update any older bulkheads on your housing or install a new flush bulkhead on any of the new sport housings. So when you receive your strike housing, you'll receive obviously the housing itself, sink lead, a new flush bulkhead, which I'll show you how to install later, camera hot shoe mount, the flash mount which will mount onto the top of your sport housing, the appropriate tools and bolts to secure everything. You've got your flash housing instructions, warranty, and also the bulkhead instructions on how to install that. In this video I'm going to explain a lot clearer detail exactly how to remove any old bulkheads and install the new ones. So you're going to notice one major difference between the new flash bulkhead and the old flash bulkhead. The new one has a small slimline micro USB connector system, whereas the old one has a 6-pin wire connectors. So now you're ready to install your new flash bulkhead into your sport housing. As I said earlier, you're either going to need to remove the older style flash bulkhead or remove the housing plug which is installed on the new sport housings. The tools required for this process are fairly simple. A flathead screwdriver as wide as possible, 2 shifting spanners, or an open-ended wrench at 22mm. So I'm going to start with the removal process of any older flash bulkheads. You've got a location on the top to grab a hold of it, and also a nut on the inside. The best way to get this done is to lock it in from the outside, grab a shifter and hold on to the inside. Once you've got a hold of both the inside and the outside, twist the flash bulkhead from the outside, holding the inside nut firmly. It's also a really great idea to undo any velcro tabs on the inside. That's going to let the bulkhead spin freely. If you're lucky enough to have one of the new sport housings, you would have noticed that you'll have a housing plug on your housing instead of the older style flash bulkheads. The removal process is just as simple, whereas this time you'll be locking it in from the top with either a flathead screwdriver, or if you don't have a screwdriver which is wide enough, you can get away with a quarter or a 10-cent piece. To remove the housing plug, simply grab your shifting spanner or open-ended wrench, grab onto the nut. I'm going to use a coin just to show how easy that is, and twist from the outside whilst holding the inside nice and firm. Once that's loosened off enough, you should be able to take it out by hand. Now that you've removed either the older flash bulkhead or the housing plug, it's time to install the new flash bulkhead. Unscrew the rear nut. Make sure that the main O-ring is nice and secure in here. Place that one through the hole. I always find it's easier to flip the housing upside down. That's going to hold the O-ring in place. Now once the bulkhead's secure, simply place the nut back over the rear of the flash bulkhead and just finger tighten. Once you've tightened that down with your finger, this is the reverse of what we did before. So we're going to hold it tight from the outside, lock it nice and tight from the inside with the shifter, and twist from the outside. Once you feel some nice resistance, just give it a half turn and don't push it too much further. Now you're ready to do a water test to make sure that the work that you've done is nice and watertight. The easiest way to test if the work that you've done is watertight is to do a water test with no camera or lens. Simply secure the housing as you would if you're going to use it. Secure the back plate down, screw on any port. Make sure that's done up nice and tight. Today we'll be lucky enough to be able to test it in the pool.
If you don't have a pool nearby, you can always perform this at home in the bathtub or in a large bucket of water. The minimum pressure we suggest is at least an arm's distance down into the water. The first test is going to be for 20 seconds, so make sure that everything is securely locked down, your back plate and your port, and hold it under the water for 20 seconds. After that first initial test, grab a towel, dry it off, make sure that there's no water drops inside the housing. If everything checks out fine, repeat that process again, this time for 30 seconds. Again, when you remove it for the second time, dry it off, check for any drops to make sure it hasn't run back to the back plate or to the front of the port. If everything checks out fine, The work you've done is nice and watertight. Do keep an eye on this the first time you use it, making sure that at any extreme depths, the housing is secure.
After your successful water test, it's time to add the cable management to the side of the water housing. You would have received a small little black piece like this. It's got a double-sided tape on the rear, and we also suggest a tiny drop of super glue, really to anchor it down to the side of your housing. Regardless of which housing type you have, the securing of this is in the exact same spot for every housing. We suggest adhering it to the sidewall, just slightly below where the flash bulkhead is. That way, when you're not using the flash, you can simply store the cables on the sidewall of the housing. Now it's time to install your flash inside the flash housing. Firstly, use the required tool and remove the 3 bolts from the back. Then simply grab your flash and mount it to the inside of the flash housing on the flash mount. And lock that one into place. To secure the flash housing, simply place the back plate on the back of the housing and lock down the 3 bolts until you see a nice even pressure around the whole of the O-ring. The next step is to attach the flash housing mount to the top of your sport housing. Simply grab the 2 bolts and again the tool that we supply and lock that one into place. Once you've got the mount attached to your sport housing, simply remove the locking bolt from the bottom of the flash housing. Slide this one into place. Replace the bolt. And with the supplied tool, lock it into place. The next step is to install your camera as normal into the sport housing. Then you need to attach the camera hot shoe mount to the inside of the flash bulk housing mount. To do that, simply attach the male and female micro USB connectors. Slide this onto your hot shoe with the camera just like you would your flash. Next step is to attach the back plate. It's a good idea once you have the back plate secure just to check that that flash cable isn't interfering with the O-ring seal of the back plate. Now once you have your camera secure and the flash secure within their own housings, it's time to connect the two via the sync lead. To attach, simply remove the plugs on both the sport housing and the flash housing. Remove the plugs on the sync lead. Line up the 6 pins with the male and female connection. Push that one into place and secure again. So now the system is fully set up. We've got the sync lead connecting the flash housing and the sport housing, but everything's set up as it would be if you're in the water, and everything should work as it should. So now you've seen how to install a new flash bulkhead or remove an older one and update to the latest technology. You've seen how to set up your new flash housing and attach it to your sport housing and get everything ready for the water. If you've got any questions in regards to the installation process or how to operate any of the equipment, reach out to us through the website through the Contact Us tab. Thanks for watching.